Hello everybody. Now every petrol head has a childhood dream car, don't they? You know, the car that you had a poster on your bedroom wall as a child growing up. For me, it was a Lamborghini Diablo. For others, it is a Ferrari, but that poster car that you'd see every night before going to sleep. It was the car that you'll tell your siblings, tell your friends, when I grow up and when I've got a really good job, I'm gonna have that as my car. But fast forward, you're now grown up, you're working full time, you've got a family, and you realize that, okay, yeah, look, I'm not gonna be able to get a Lamborghini Diablo. But some people grew up with a Subaru Impreza poster on their wall, probably being driven by none other than Colin McRae. And if you are one of those people, in this video, I'm gonna tell you why, even if you don't have tons of money, even if you've got children now and you need something practical, you can live out your dream and buy your dream car. Come on, let's get into it. My name's Ben, welcome to Dadcars. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm driving a 2006 Subaru Impreza WRX STI. Now this is a Jap import, so it's got the 2-litre EJ207 engine, which UK cars of the same generation had a 2.5. And for those who are STI fanatics, and many say that this 2-litre is the one to go for, because these 2-litre Japanese cars come with twin scroll turbos, and I think these rev a little bit higher as well than the UK cars. From standard, this generation STI produced around 280 to 300 horsepower, but this, like most STIs, isn't standard. It's only had light modifications. I believe a fuel pump and exhaust, which has brought the brake horsepower up to around 360, and torque is around 370 pound-foot. My best friend growing up had an STI which had been modified, I believe, to like around 500 horsepower, and that was just mind-bending, particularly back then. But I can remember, no matter how he drove that car, he was getting single digits miles per gallon, and we'll come on to miles per gallon and running costs of one of these a little bit later on in the video. But the only other modification I think it's had is it's on lowering springs, as you can see. But this is my first time ever actually driving a Subaru Impreza with that legendary flat 4 boxer. Now I have driven a GR86 on the channel and I absolutely loved it. But we'll come on to how this drives in a moment as we come up to a roundabout here. Oh, and indicators obviously on the right side. Oh, this is so capable, isn't it? But the main purpose of this video is to answer the question, you know, what is it like to drive one of these today, you know, almost 20 years later on? You know, can you still run one of these as a dad car? And so to kick things off, why don't we have a look at the practicality of these? So let's check out the rear practicality on this. Right, well, obviously 4 doors, so getting in and out, getting little ones in and out potentially is a bit easier. Now I've heard that legroom is terrible in these, but that driver's seat is in the position for me. I have got short legs, but I wouldn't say that's that bad actually. Headroom, if I sit right back, my head does actually touch on the roof line, but there's loads of space back here for child seats, and most importantly, this has got ISOFIX. So this is a 2006 import car, but it does have ISOFIX. If you've got an earlier Impreza that doesn't have ISOFIX, please let us know what year and model it is and comment below, because I think that'd be interesting for other parents out there to see. But all in all, I would say in the back here is certainly very basic compared to any of the German saloons that we have on the channel, but space-wise, perfectly adequate for children. Now, let's have a look though at the boot. So annoyingly, I don't think there is a boot release button. I had to pull the lever in on the driver's side, but there is a key slot there if you want to do it from the back. But look, the important thing is the boot is massive. So we recently had a brand new EV crossover on press loan, and this double buggy was a struggle, real struggle to fit in the back of the all things to all families brand new crossover EV. So in terms of practicality, look, it is a 4-door saloon with a massive boot. Everything you would need for family life. Right, sweetie, do you want to come for a drive with Daddy? Yeah. In a Scooby-Dooby-Doo. But first, a quick and important reminder from me to always run a car vertical check when you're buying a used car. So whether it's a family car or your dream car, if you don't do a car vertical check, it could turn into a nightmare. And I've got a rather shocking example to share with you. A couple of months ago, I saw a post on Facebook, someone saying, look at this BMW 4 Series, it's been advertised on Auto Trader with no mention of previous crash damage. However, when you look at this car vertical report for that BMW 4 Series,
you can see it's got an amber warning for financial and legal status and also amber warning for damage. And when you go down to the pictures, you can see it's clearly been involved in a front end crash. Yeah, the airbag's gone off as well, but that wasn't showing up on the advert. The dealer wasn't saying that it had previously been involved in a crash.
So remember to always run a car vertical check to ensure that the car's not being crashed, stolen or clocked. And if you use promo code Dadcars, you'll save 20% off every time you need to run a car vertical check. And to anybody watching this who has used car vertical in the past and it's saved them from buying a dodgy car, I would love to hear your stories. Please reach out to me. My email address is below, or send me a DM on Instagram. Now let's get back to the STI. Do you want to hear it? Ready, listen. Does that sound good? You tired? You're probably going to go to sleep, aren't you? Wow, now that is a fantastic coincidence. Look, I just pulled up behind what was my first ever sports car, my first ever Japanese car. It's a Mark II MR2 in front of us. It's got a Rev 5 spoiler on the back, but it's in the same colour that mine was as well. Now the other important sort of practicality test is, driving practicality. So look, we're going uphill here, rather steep hill, and we've got some speed bumps, and it's going to require me to go in first gear. This car has got an uprated clutch on it, and although the horsepower on this car didn't necessarily need it, he opted to put a stage 2 clutch in this, a clutch which can take over 500 horsepower, I believe. Now the downside of that is that whilst I'm just trying to drive this around nice and smoothly with my little one who's already fallen asleep in the back, it feels like I'm trying to do a nice casual slow walk with a huge muscular pit bull who's pulling at the collar, and I'm just going, no, come on Frederick, let's just go for a little walk. So this clutch is basically screaming at you saying, come on, full power, drop the clutch, go for it. But yeah, perhaps if, like me, you do a lot of city driving, dropping the kids to their clubs and whatnot, sitting in traffic, congestion, this clutch is probably going to be quite a hard thing to live with, I would say. Right, so we're coming up to national speed limit here now. Drop it into second. She is asleep in the back, but there we go. Let's have a go. Oh, it's got fantastic power low down in the rev range. Oh, yes. Absolutely glorious, this. And what do we think of the looks? Now, I must admit, growing up playing Gran Turismo, I was always far more drawn towards RX-7s, GTOs, Supras. And while I always knew that a Subaru Impreza was an incredibly cool car, younger me, certainly me in my 20s, I was more gravitated towards those 2+2s, coupe style cars. And it's also worth pointing out that these cars have unfortunately built up a bit of a reputation for some of the types of drivers that own these. I'm talking drum and bass blaring, hood up, vape smoke pluming. Oh, geez, want to come and have a look at my sweet Scooby? It's rapid mush. Yeah, they've definitely got that little bit of a reputation, and it's not entirely fair. I mean, certainly this car's owner is not somebody like that. But all of that said, when I had this sat on the drive earlier on, I was smiling. I was like, yeah, I could get used to seeing one of these sat on my drive. But I said at the start that these are affordable cars, and it's true, this same generation of STI, if you're looking at the UK cars, they seem to start from around £12,000. Oh God, it's so nice going round and roundabout in this. So this revision, UK cars, from around 12,000. And I mean, I'm currently looking to buy my next exciting dad car, and I've got a budget of £10,000 or less. I reckon I could get a UK car for £10,000. Now, these 2-litre Japanese import cars do seem to command a bit more of a premium, and they're harder to come by. This particular car was recently up for sale, and it was up for 16.5, I think, and it was getting interest at around sort of 15,500 for it before he decided that he wanted to keep it. But even if you're on an even tighter budget, below the STI, there's loads of Imprezas that will fit pretty much any budget. Right, we're at a roundabout here, and we're gonna test out this clutch now. Oh. Yeah, it's very hard from a standstill to do a smooth pull away. Kind of little judders. And I remember in the noughties when these STIs were brand new, because my uncle bought one brand new. And they were, I think, like 28, 29,000 pounds, which adjusting for inflation today is more like 50 grand. But even 50 grand in today's money for an extremely cool high performance car like this, that's amazing when you consider that, I mean, today, the cheapest entry level BMW 3 Series that you can buy starts from like 40 grand. It's mad how expensive cars are these days. Yeah, but even if you can afford to buy one of those, mate, running it is another thing. And yes, that's true. So what about the running costs? Now, miles per gallon in the real world with this car that's just been lightly modified, you're getting around 19 to 20 miles per gallon with mixed driving. On a run, apparently it's possible to get high 20s. And if you're having a spirited drive, obviously you could get into the single digits if you wanted to. Now, road tax, I think on the 2.5 UK cars, is really high, yeah, because it will be from 2006 onwards. But if you've got a 2 litre import like this, I think the road tax is like half, so it's like £360-ish at time of recording. Insurance is likely to be high as well. This car's owner is 25 years old and he pays £900, which actually isn't really that bad. And I'm sure as well that these engines, these cars will benefit from being, serviced very frequently. And then there's the cost when things go wrong. The only thing that's gone wrong so far with this particular car is the clutch needed replacing, but they knew that at time of purchase. And a new clutch on this cost supply and fit, I think it's around £1,300, which isn't that bad. But if you are looking to buy one of these, as with anything which is over 20 years old, particularly Japanese stuff, I would highly recommend that before you part with a significant amount of money, you actually arrange to get one of these up on a ramp and get it inspected and have a good little look underneath. Because like a lot of cars of this age, Japanese cars, they suffer really badly from rot and the undersides can get really bad. Well, the brakes are good. Oh God, that clutch, honestly, when you're pulling away, is a really hard work. It definitely is. Right, what's the turning circle like? Turning circle isn't as good as I was expecting. I'm gonna have to do that in 2. Managed to do that in my wife's Range Rover recently. God, yeah, I'm struggling with this clutch, I really am. Once you're going, it's all right. Oh yeah, even second, see, it wants to go. Saying, stop driving me slow. And what does it drive like? Well, power-wise, there's ample power. Yeah, this would be more than enough for me. Like 360 horsepower in this car, and you can get all of that power down as well, obviously with this fantastic all-wheel drive system. The steering is a lot faster and more nimble than I was expecting as well, but apparently that might be something to do with it being a Japanese import as well. I think this might have a quicker steering rack than the UK cars. The gearbox has got a lovely short and satisfying sort of motion and click to it. The ride is quite bouncy. I've not experienced any crashiness at all, but it's just, yeah, it just feels like it's really quite bouncy. That turbo pull. And just the view as the driver here as well, it's wonderful driving position. This feels so small, this car, honestly. By modern standards, this feels like a tiny car that you can perfectly place. Visibility, absolutely fantastic. Obviously on the bonnet there, you've got that huge air intake scoop, the legendary intake. And in the rearview mirror, you can see that massive wing, but because it's so high, you can see underneath it really well. The interior has that beautiful Japanese unmistakable smell, which I think comes from, this sort of like plasticky, squishy, textured material on the dash, which I absolutely love. I love this. And yes, it is incredibly basic in here, but in many ways, that's why I always love, particularly 90s Japanese cars, is they did so much with so little. Yeah, it's basic, but the instrument cluster there is a pleasant thing to look at. Everything feels nice and intuitive, and it's just a nice, clean, non-fuss design. And this Japanese material holds up really well. You get some decent cleaning products on that, and it will look like it's all completely fresh and brand new. God, yeah, look, I love it. I feel so at home. inside a manual Japanese car from the 90s or the noughties. Let's give it another pull. Let's start in first gear. There's no one behind, no one in front. Start in first gear. 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness, it is blisteringly fast. Honestly, 360 horsepower for day-to-day use in a car that's this light. I mean, these weigh less than 1,500 kilograms, I believe. Or roundabout. Oh, you could throw this around. I mean, look, I'm driving 5 temps because obviously she's fast asleep in the back there, but oh, goodness me, if I was driving this on my own, I'll be getting some G-force for sure. So practicality tick, fun to drive, absolutely, incredibly engaging. And although it's, you know, very basic in here, it's a really pleasant and charming place to be. And look, these are super affordable cars in relative terms as well. And when it comes to dream cars, they are attainable. But there is one big fly in the ointment if you're considering buying a car like this one I'm driving today. And particularly if you're thinking about using it with children, and that's safety. Because it's true, the Subaru Imprezas weren't even NCAP crash tested in Europe until 2009. So I believe that would be the model which came after this. And safety is something which, look, I'll admit myself that, you know, until I became a dad, until I started carrying my precious cargo, my children, in my sports cars, I never gave it any regard whatsoever. And although, to be fair, I mean, the all-wheel drive system in this is incredibly competent. Honestly, the grip levels are absolutely fantastic. So if you were going to be driving one of these, you know, all year round, you know, and you're driving it sensibly in wet conditions, slippery, icy conditions, this would actually probably be a safer thing to drive around than a lot of other cars. If you've got another primary family car which your other half drives, and you know 90% of the family miles are done in that, and then you're just looking to get yourself a dad car which you'll use on, you know, special occasions at weekends, and you'll put the best, most modern, safest child seat you possibly can in the back. I mean, interestingly, that one that I've got in the back there is fantastic. So it's front facing, it's got a leg, and it's actually got an airbag system in it as well. But yeah, look, safety is something that I do like to always point out on this channel, because it does suddenly become a thing. And it's a real shame, you know, all of those 90s Japanese cars that I love so much, I don't think they would cope well, you know, if they had a 2.5, 3 ton massive SUV EV sort of plow into the side of them. I want to say a massive thank you to this car's owner, Charlie. He's actually started his own YouTube channel recently, where he does incredible, in-depth pieces on Japanese cars. I mean, he's got one on there which is all about the Toyota MR2, a car which is close to my heart that we saw earlier on. So to anyone who fancies a bit more of a deep dive into cars like this, I highly recommend you check out his channel, because particularly when you start out, honestly, it means the world when you just get a handful of new subscribers and a handful of people coming over from a video like this and commenting and giving your feedback on the video. So please go and check out his channel. I will put a link to it in the description below. So in summary then, for the 2006 Japanese 2-litre STI, honestly, this is just such a marvelous car. If you drove this back to back with like a brand new German performance saloon, which had more than double the power of this, I reckon, took both of them on a bit of a blast, this is the one that would make you smile more. Even if you're technically not going as fast, this would make you smile more. And when you consider you can get one of these for, you know, nearly a tenth of the price, honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. And if one of these was your dream car, if an Impreza of some sort was your dream car growing up and you haven't owned one yet, and you're in a position to do it now, if you can comfortably afford to buy and run one of these, I say absolutely go for it. Honestly, you'll kick yourself when you're 80 years old. You look back and you think, oh yeah, I had that opportunity to buy that Scooby. I could have used it with the kids and gone to Cars and Coffees and gone to Dadcars events at weekends and made some memories in my dream car, but I didn't. I did the sensible thing, and I went and brought something which was, you know, a bit more practical and a bit more modern. And what about me? Would I buy one of these? My next dad's car, I've got £10,000 for it. In theory, I could potentially get a UK one of these. If anyone's watching, they've got a really well cared for one which isn't burning loads of oil, one which has got full service history and has been owned by somebody who always lets it warm up before driving it fast. Yeah, honestly, if you've got a decent one and you actually need to sell it, you're not just looking to put it up and just wait around forever, and you're willing to let it go for a low price, send me an email, send me a DM on Instagram. I would be interested in owning one of these. But I would say for me personally, I would want one which has got the original clutch, because yeah, the way that I use these cars, I do genuinely daily, use them just driving in and out of town with the girls all the time to drop them to their clubs and go and do a food shop. And so yeah, I need a clutch that I can drive smoothly. Oh, this is amazing. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Like this video, comment below, share it with another dad, and make sure you check out one of our other videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.